When you kidnap our people off the streets and put them in concentration camps, as they're doing to your people.
So they're taking actions on the ground, the grassroots. The people of the world are doing this. By the way, it's why we see not just tourism down from Canada, it's about an 8-minute and 20-second speech or so. Watch the full speech.
So I come to you to say that we have this moment of opportunity of our nations to work together.
What if I told you that Canada and Mexico just built a trade shortcut right under America's nose, and it's not to replace the U.S., but to outsmart Washington's tariff games? September 18th wasn't just a meeting. It was the start of a rulebook that decides how fast trucks unload, how customs codes are read, and how ports actually move goods. So is this the quiet birth of a new trade highway that even Trump didn't expect? Stick around, because the answer is hiding in dock schedules, not headlines. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video. Ever wonder what happens when Uncle Sam slams the tariff door shut and locks it with 3 extra bolts? Well, Canada and Mexico didn't just sit around crying into their maple syrup and tequila. Instead, they pulled out a new set of blueprints and said, fine, if the orange turd wants to make trade miserable, we'll do it ourselves. That's basically the birth of their new shortcut, a plan to line up trade lanes that move goods without getting stuck in Grumpy Trumpy's tariff tantrums.
Then we know what we're confronting. We're confronting gangster fascism. If we are under the threat of this kind of totalitarian, authoritarian gangsterism. So our first job in Canada right now is what we have to fight for.
I want you to watch as a fascist and totalitarian state run by a dictator, Donald Trump.
And the best part? They didn't need permission from Washington. They just started talking directly to each other. When Trump played the tariff card, it didn't just mess with luxury imports or random items on store shelves. It went after some of the most basic products North America relies on. Think car parts that cross borders multiple times before even being installed, fresh vegetables that can't sit roasting in a truck for days, and batteries that might as well have expiration dates. Suddenly, every shipment faced new costs and longer stops at the border. It wasn't just frustration, it was money flushing straight down the drain. Imagine a truck full of lettuce forced to sit at customs so long it basically turned into salad soup. That's what tariffs plus delays really meant. Here's the irony that no one in Washington wanted to admit. Instead of pitting Canada and Mexico against each other, tariffs shoved them closer. Ottawa and Mexico City could have panicked and tried to outcompete for scraps of American trade, but they went in the opposite direction. They synchronized, like two neighbors deciding it's smarter to build a bridge between their houses instead of both waiting in line every morning at the cranky neighbor's driveway. Trump wanted pressure but ended up giving them more motivation to coordinate. It's the political version of yelling at kids to fight and then watching them team up instead.
Now here's another moment of this powerful speech by Charlie Angus. Let's play it.
And we cannot build the sustainable, progressive future that we are all working towards to further the agenda of the planet burners, because sustainability.
Goods not being purchased by Canada, American goods, export across the world from the United States is sinking. It's like a straight line down.
Picture this. Hundreds of trucks loaded with produce, steel, or engines idling at border stations. The line crawls like cars in a fast food drive-through where the worker can't figure out how the register works. Customs officers flip through endless tariff codes like they're stuck with outdated fast food menus. One mistake, one missing stamped form, and the entire line halts. Now scale that headache across industries worth billions, and you start to see why losing time at checkpoints feels like lighting cash on fire. That's why the September 18th meeting between Canada and Mexico wasn't just for the photo op. It was about drawing up actual rules for trucks, docks, and paperwork so trade lines don't collapse the second tariffs pop up again. They weren't shaking hands for Instagram. They were setting schedules, harmonizing customs codes, and making sure the guy in charge of the clipboards can't ruin an entire supply chain. Nothing glamorous there, but shaving minutes at the dock means shaving millions off industry costs. Think about it. Every extra stop and hiccup multiplies down the line. One truck stuck becomes 5 factories waiting.
Because your nations are under threat, your planet is under threat, our way of life is under threat.
This is what is taking place across the world right now as they look at the United States. Asia, America's a gangster regime under Donald Trump. Watch this. You are not going to want to miss it.
One delayed shipment can make thousands of grocery shelves look empty. That's why a simple 5-minute improvement at a customs gate doesn't just matter for the driver, it ripples across farming, cars, electronics, you name it. Economists actually joke that meetings are nice, but minutes at the dock move the world. And in this case, that's more accurate than anything politicians throw into a microphone. Compare it to ordering a package online. If 2 delivery services can't agree on a barcode format, your order just sits in limbo until the mess is figured out. Multiply that by thousands of trucks, and you've got the mess North America faces when trade rules aren't streamlined. Harmonization may sound like dull bureaucratic jargon, but without it, the whole system clogs. Now here's the part everyone misses. Canada and Mexico aren't cutting the US out entirely, they're not staging a breakup. What they're doing is building something like an insurance policy. If Washington decides to throw another fit, if Donnie Diapers wakes up angry and starts tweeting tariff nonsense, shipments still keep moving. Trade doesn't grind to a halt, it reroutes. So instead of letting America hold all the cards, Canada and Mexico made sure they've got their own backup deck. That's the big takeaway. They turned tariff pain into a chance to innovate.
Is to stop that, but it's also to make sure that they don't exploit this crisis.
Because this is how international alliances are formed and forged. Because Europeans don't want it, Australians don't want it, Africans don't want it, South Americans, Central America, Mexico. Then let's chat, let's play it.
Gracias. It's a great honor to be with you again, my cousins from the Americas.
They're setting up a shortcut system that avoids chaos rather than driving straight into it. And this shortcut isn't just about lining up trucks, it's about preparing for the future as a team. Because the next stage isn't simply moving goods faster, it's about reshaping energy grids, farming networks, and car manufacturing into a supply chain that's built to last no matter who's in the White House. Trade fights love grabbing headlines, but the real story hides in who actually moves the goods. Canada and Mexico just wrote their own playbook. And let's be honest, it makes them look like the adults in the room while Washington throws tantrums like Donnie Diapers on Twitter. Instead of waiting around for Grumpy Trumpy's next tariff stunt, they built themselves an insurance policy. Now the supply chain runs smoother, costs drop, and they're not boxed in by the orange turds games. Today it's about fixing docks and trucks. Tomorrow, an entire map of global trade redesigned not by speeches, but by schedules.